foam. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. Game over, series over, and the Red Sox are world champs again. It hasn't happened at Fenway Park for 95 years. The Red Sox are world champions. From the top on down, here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series.
This is the Inside the Sox podcast, and now here's your host, Kevin Baver.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the latest edition of Inside the Sox podcast, brought to you by Grandstand Productions. My name is Kevin Baver. Across from me, as always, is my main man, Rob Anglin. What's going on, Rob?
What is up, Kevin? How are you?
I'm surviving. I'm definitely surviving. As you could tell, Justin, our producer, is in the background. You could see him as well. We have a little change of scenery for this podcast. I am laid up in bed. I went in for emergency surgery yesterday morning to have my appendix removed. Not fun, dude. Not gonna lie. Definitely not fun. But you tough it out. You do the best you can, and I wanted to get this episode out. Bottom line, I wanted to get this episode out. We had a great episode last week with Corbin from Red Seat, which I think was phenomenal. And then on today we got some news. So we're going to talk about it. We got some news. Not even an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, about an hour and a half ago. Justin Turner, 2 years, $22 million. Solidifies the DH spot, solidifies a little bit of depth at the corners. Let's talk about Justin Turner. Go ahead, Rob. What do you got for me?
All right, so I saw this at work. I was at work. It was a crazy day, by the way. Obviously, weekend before Christmas, so it gets a little crazy.
Yeah. It does.
Through rain, snow, sleet, whatever conditions, whatever we're going through, we got to break the news. So that's why we hopped on this podcast.
Absolutely.
So how I feel about Justin Turner, I think it's a good signing by Chaim Bloom. I think last year, obviously, losing J.D. Martinez. It's kind of funny because we lost J.D. Martinez to the Dodgers, and literally the next day we offered Justin Turner a similar contract, $1 million more, but that's besides the point. It's like we're kind of like trading players in a sense. But
of course,
what I like about Justin Turner is that he is a very great clubhouse-oriented guy. He won a Roberto Clemente Award once. And he had a pretty decent season last year. He hit around 278 with 13 homers and 81 ribbies, which is really good. Also, he does have some postseason experience, as you could tell, 2021 here. This is what I want to see this year for the Red Sox back in the playoffs. But I really think Justin Turner is a great guy. Plus, he solidifies some options in the infield. If you need to put Costas at DH one time, put Turner at first base. You could put him at second base, shortstop, third base, anywhere in the infield, which is amazing. And I think Justin Turner, I've always liked him with the Dodgers, and I'm very happy to see him in Boston. It's pretty much the Boston Dodgers. We got Kenley, we got Turner, we got Kike, and now we got Verdugo. So, we always had Verdugo, but it's a reunion in Boston.
Here's the thing. I saw something earlier, and I love JD, and I want to give him the proper send off, like we do with the unfortunate case what we had to do with Xander, and JD was a phenomenal signing for the Red Sox, and he was productive pretty much every year he was here, including an 18 World Championship, and I believe a 4-time All-Star, as a Boston Red Sox. So I want to give him the proper signing off. I want to make sure that, when he goes out to LA, I wish him the best. I really do. One thing that happened with JD last year that we saw was the dip in power. And that right field wall just got farther and farther and farther away for him. And I believe what Justin Turner brings to the Red Sox, not only does he solidify the DH, not only does he add this depth, not only are we kind of optimistic and happy with the signing, even though, we missed out on the big names. We went 0 for 4 on shortstops and things like that. And I know there's going to be people harping on that. The signings that we've had have been pretty good. The ones that we've nailed, I think they're pretty safe and they're pretty good. Justin Turner, back to Justin Turner. I saw a spray chart that someone put up with the dimensions of Fenway Park, and we're talking about anywhere between 23 to 26 home runs, 20 plus doubles. His swing is really, really built, and I think it's going to be beneficial at Fenway. It really is. Now he only is going to play half the games at Fenway, which is fine, but it's more than he ever played. So this we can only go off the information that we have. And if that is the case, and if those are the true spray chart, right? When we look at spray charts and exit velocity and hard hit balls and things like that, is if he can still bring that at age 37, he's going to be a big part of this team. He's going to be a big part of this lineup. We have a nice, I guess, righty lefty dynamic right now through the lineup. So yeah, I think this is a great sign.
I think it's a great signing as well, especially because Justin Turner is just a likable guy. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like a guy like a situation like Brock Holt when he was with Boston, just because like obviously he was liked around the clubhouse, liked around the community, and I feel like he's going to be
absolutely
for the community of Boston. I could even see him doing like the Jimmy Fund, even like being the
yeah.
Jimmy Fund this year. I can obviously see it. Justin Turner also has a great swing, and I think he's going to be more like of a pull hitter at Fenway Park. Unlike JD, obviously, JD has
love to go Oppo.
Opposite. Yeah,
love to go Oppo.
That right field side, and I think the thing with JD that really hurts is the fact that it's just like I'm going to say this right now. JD Martinez is the best free agent signing that the Red Sox have ever had, like the most successful one. I mean, he put up the numbers you expected him to do. Won a World Series his first year. Gave everything to his team, so it sucks to see him go. But I'm happy to see him and Mookie Betts together. They have great chemistry. I know he's probably happy to have him back in the dugout together because they were really close in Boston. But I really do like the signing of Justin Turner. I think it adds a lot of depth, obviously. With the Red Sox had a depleted lineup, obviously losing Xander Bogaerts, losing a couple guys. It really looks like our lineup is shaping up a little bit better. Obviously adding Masataka Yoshida, who I already love. I mean, he was speaking English at his presser. He was already
so great, dude. It was so wholesome.
That guy is saying, "I'll give it my all," and he's trying his best. That's amazing.
Justin says the only thing he's scared about with JT, I'm scared of, and people will try to paint him as a Trevor Story 2.0, that he's there to replace Rafi. So there is an option, I know, in one of the contracts that was put out, right? And I don't know if it was a player option or a team option. I think it's a team option for the second year. It's a team option for the second year. So I don't know if I buy into the whole we're going to use a 37-year-old Justin Turner to replace Rafi at third. I don't think that's the direction of where this team is going. I understand the concerns. I understand the people who have posted it on Twitter and things like that. However, Trevor Story, much younger, he's a full-time shortstop if need be. They were looking at you got to realize the Xander situation has been completely based on the fact of Marcelo Meyer, right? The Red Sox front office believe in Marcelo Meyer, which is very, very dangerous, right? To put all your eggs in a prospect basket. So I don't think Justin Turner's going to come in here to looking to take Rafi's job or anything like that. I think they just needed a bat in the middle of that lineup and someone who's going to produce. By the way, on base machine, right? I've said it before. All of a sudden in this lineup that really struggled in at bats last year with Yoshida, with Justin Turner, with a full year of Tristan Casas, all of a sudden we're starting to see way more plate discipline guys throughout this lineup. I'm really, really excited about that. Yoshida's presser, Rob, you were talking about it, wants to learn English. I thought that was like the most wholesome thing to watch, talking about how his daughter or daughters want to learn English, how he's excited. And he ended his little, couple second speech with, "I'll do my best." And to me, that was like, you won me over, dude. Like, just absolute likable guy. I mean, great spirit, obviously wants to be here, wants to be in Boston, wants to succeed, wants the people to like him. Those are the positive things that we want to see when it comes out of pressers, right? Let's talk about Jansen's presser a little bit, because another guy, very, very likable. Very likable.
One thing I like about Kenley Jansen, obviously, not only is he an amazing closer, he is very humble, very nice guy. I mean, we've seen it. He's one of the best closers of all time. I'll say it. Everybody's going to clown him on. I see people clowning him on the internet. He's a top 10 in saves of all time, so you can't deny his fact. I like this presser. I think Yoshida's was a lot more like quote unquote electric because it gave very like wholesome, but Kenley Jansen, what I really loved about his presser, he was talking about how he's happy to play in Boston. He loves the
Yes.
history in Boston. But also at the end, what I loved his daughter, I believe it was his daughter or his
Yeah.
son. I know he has a son and
His
a daughter. I
daughter.
believe it was
Yeah,
his
yeah.
daughter though, saying "Go Boston." I thought that was the cutest thing. I thought that was like the most like. I think that's just cool, and I really think Kenley Jansen he's going to add a lot of depth not only to the bullpen but also to the team chemistry. I feel like these guys coming in, obviously, be all playing for the Dodgers at one point. I know I keep mentioning the Dodgers, but they were all teammates at one point. Maybe they can bring
Yeah.
back that chemistry that they had with the Dodgers and bring a winning. I know that's like it's kind of crazy to think a lot of the players kind of like from the 2018 team. There's only 4 remaining players, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like it was dwindling. But now you bring in these new guys who have experience playing together. I think it makes it great for the clubhouse because a couple of those guys already play together. They can bring their energy to one another. They can bring energy to every player on the team, and they can make it like instead of being like, "Oh, we have our thing with our old team. Let's try something new. Let's come back together as a whole on our brand new team, and let's make a clubhouse great." Because the key to winning games is you have to have team chemistry. I think that's obviously skill is very important, talent is very important, but if you have a good clubhouse energy, and good chemistry all around, I think that's what makes a team perform better.
Well, you saw it also with I believe Kike posted it on his Instagram when they signed Turner, and it was a picture of him and Turner. And these are two guys who are familiar with each other. I think the clubhouse is in a good dynamic, and that speaks really to Alex Cora, who I feel like as a manager knows how to get the most out of his guys, right? And we knew that, you know, Xander leaving was an absolute shot to the heart, right? And we've had to process that, we've had to mourn that. We've yet to hear from Xander on his departure from Boston. I thought Xander's presser in San Diego was very, very tough to sit through because he was very kind of blunt about Boston, just saying that San Diego was more straightforward and prepared to win and things like that. But I once again I don't knock Xander. I love Xander and I do believe he has a good heart. So clubhouse, right? We're talking about chemistry, we're talking about guys, we're talking about the lineup, we're talking about the bouncing between the lefties and the righties, we're talking about the pressers. Jansen for me, once again, Yoshida and Jansen, they're pressers. Yoshida's obviously I like the way you said that. It was more electric, right? But Jansen, these are wholesome guys in wholesome moments, guys who have talked about two guys in pressers that have talked about wanting to be in Boston. To me, that is huge. To me, there's a lot of guys when they get signed by teams, and I understand they want to play in that city, right? But we saw what like Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa, for the lack of a better term, he wanted no part of being in Minnesota, right? This was in Carlos Correa, and Swanson and Bogarts and Trey Turner. They all got paid. They got their years. They got paid. They're in places where they're going to be playing well into their 40s now. God bless them, right? But as a Red Sox fan, we need to look at what we can control. And let's talk about the Devers extension a little bit. So we got a little bit of news this week that the Red Sox front office and Rafael Devers aren't as far off as maybe it was led on to believe. We started this podcast, now over a month and a half ago. And when we started talking about a Devers extension, we were nowhere close. The numbers were nowhere close. And now it seems like it's getting a little closer. Some people say 75 mil, some say 50 mil. We actually had numbers coming out, 9, 10, and 11 years ranging from 300 to 360 million dollars. So let's talk about that a little bit. What is his worth going to be? Is he going to hit the open market to see if he can get years like these other guys? Rob, talk to me a little bit about Devers' options.
So with Rafael Devers, the options that he has, like you said, it was a 9-year, a 10-year, and an 11-year contract. The 11-year one was worth $360 million. If I'm the Boston Red Sox, obviously they said that there's on Twitter, I've seen it all around, from sources that the Red Sox are going to offer him a contract this coming week. It'll be a nice Christmas present to give your fans their homegrown talent actually staying in Boston. I think the Red Sox should drop the $360 million for 11 seasons. I think he is amazing. And I really think that Rafael Devers deserves the money. He's proven to us enough that he deserves the money. Obviously, his defense isn't the point, but I mean, it can get better. It can improve. But that has been essential to the Red Sox production in the lineup. essential for them making the playoffs in 2021. He was a key asset to the Red
Yes, he
Sox
was.
that year.
Yes, he
Him and
was.
obviously Bogarts and JD and everybody putting in the work. But obviously, I think Rafael Devers deserves the money. That was a tongue twister there. He deserves the money. He's played for so many years since 2017. He's just proven time in and time out that he cares about the team. He wants to win, and he just like goes in and does his thing. And I think Rafael Devers, if there's anybody who you deserve to give the money to, that man has earned it. I do not care what
Absolutely.
you guys have to say. Who cares about the defense when you're putting up 30 plus home runs? When you're driving in over 120 runs a season, you deserve that contract. And I mean, if they're not going to pay Mookie Betts, if they're not going to pay Xander Bogaerts, you had to pay Rafael Devers because, number one, he's young. He's only 25, 26 years old. You
Yeah.
lock him up for 11 years. You have him until he's 36, 37. Obviously, you could slot him as a DH as time goes by. Obviously, Marcelo Meyer gets called up. Maybe you move a guy like Justin Turner, slot him in at third base. Meyer goes to short, Story goes back to second, or you keep Story, or even, I don't know what they're going to do. They could even
They
sign
have
a second
options.
baseman. They have a lot of options,
Yeah,
and I think the
they
Red
have
Sox, if they
options.
get Rafael Devers locked up long term, you have to build around him. You can't just you can add pieces, but your face of the franchise has to be Rafael Devers moving forward for the next 10, 11 years. End of
And
story.
I agree. I absolutely agree. My only the pessimist in me is telling me because of the deals that these guys got, the shortstop Scott and Aaron Judge, obviously. Because of the deals that they got. I mean, even Rondon wanted 7 years. He still got 6, right? From the Yankees. Is Rafael going to be tempted by the influx of the free agency market? What we're starting to see here, and I think this has something to do with the lockdown. I think this has something to do with the CBA, the new CBA, is that teams are willing now to hand out years to lower the cost of what they're paying per year to stay under the luxury tax, right? So if you're the Red Sox, I don't think you want Devers to have the option to test the market. If 11 at 360 is going to get it done, and I believe someone tweeted out this week that they're going to make an offer. We're not 100% sure on that. We do keep getting reports that sometime this week an offer, will be extended to Rafi. I hope they, I don't know if they're going to keep that to their vest or if we're actually going to know about it. But if it's 11 years, right? Hypothetically, let's say it's 11 years at 360 mil, you got to think that gets it done. You got to hope that gets it done. I mean, I'm terrified of I'm terrified of really what would happen if we go through a full season, if Rafi hits the open market, and is someone going to be willing to go to 12, 13 years or, close to $400 million? I just don't know. But I think 11 at 360 would absolutely get it done. We want to keep Rafi here. 26 years old, has been doing it since 2017. You also have to give the fans, right, us, the fan base, a little something to be excited about when it comes to retaining homegrown talent. I do not want the Red Sox to go to the pre-2004 era where it seemed like a lot of things were like a revolving door. Okay? A lot of players would come in, they play well, they'd be on their way. Come in, play well, they'd be on their way. And since 2004, we were able to build a winning culture. I've talked about that since this podcast has started. We have built a winning culture, and part of that winning culture is retaining some of these homegrown guys. I know they're big on Meyer. I hate that. I hate that the Boris tweet came out that said, what inhibited the Red Sox of making an offer to Xander was how invested they are on Marcelo Meyer. To me, that really hit home. That really hit home to my heart where this kid better be good because we just lost the face of our franchise. We just lost that, unsung captain, right? Not given the title, but it was on his chest and we knew it. So, I'm excited for the kid, but he's got to do it. And Devers, if 11 at 360 gets it done, let's just go into the season and just know that this is over. Like you said, Christmas coming up at the end of the week. Let's all, be with our families and say, you know what, at least we got Devers locked up.
And the one thing that I'm really scared about too is because obviously we all know the Padres, Manny Machado has an option to opt out after this year. He's saying he wants to opt out of his contract. And if Rafael Devers is posting photos right now with Xander Bogaerts,
I know.
someone just had me.
It breaks my
obviously,
breaks my heart.
Wait, if you see, I got a notification. My bad. You see Xander Bogaerts here with Rafi. That's a throwback picture. But if he's posting that stuff and there's an open hole, ironically, in San Diego, if Manny
I
opts out, he doesn't
know.
get more money. That scares me because he could just go to San Diego. That left side of the infield goes back to being the Boston left side of the infield. So I'm just hoping that the Red Sox are smart enough, offer him the money now, because if he opts out, let's say Machado opts out and Rafael Devers is a free agent. If Machado signs more money, Rafael Devers is going to want more money because number one, he's
Yeah.
younger. Number two, if Manny Machado can make almost $400 million guaranteed, Rafael Devers is going to want $400 million regardless.
Yeah.
So if the Red Sox get it locked up now, they get the situation figured out. You don't have to worry about third base anymore. You don't have to worry about having someone being there. You don't have to worry about having to replace someone. All you have to worry about is you got your core young guy locked up for many years, and you can build around him. And that's all. What I'll always say: you need to build around your star players, and the Red Sox have not done that. They've let guys walk. They've traded guys away. They've done a lot of things messed up in the past 2 years. Chaim Bloom, I respect him. I think I do respect him. I think he does have a plan, but I mean, you got to manage this team. You got to make the fans happy, but you can't just sit around and just do certain things and expect fans to be happy. Obviously, you want to keep guys, and I think that they need to stop making excuses saying, "Oh, we're going to offer it." No, if you're going to offer it, offer it. Don't. It's all talk now. It's always all talk. I want to see action.
Absolutely. I want to see action. And I think something that kind of made the hairs on our neck stand up was Manny Machado saying that he was going to opt out at the end of the year. I think Manny Machado, first off, Manny Machado is all about Manny Machado, right? And if he saw the deals that, the four shortstops are able to get in this free agency, you had to think that at the end of the day, Manny Machado is going to want to make his money, right? And so him opting out and seeing the deals that were given out this offseason once again made me nervous about the Devers situation, because if Machado's opting out and there's a hole in San Diego at third base and Xander's there, and is this foreshadowing? Is this foreshadowing that, hey, listen, guys, Chaim, front office, pay attention, right? Like if we're sitting at home as fans and we're going, hey, listen, the stars are aligning and something potentially bad can happen, as far as us losing two homegrown talent guys. It's just it's really scary. Justin threw up on the screen, just for everybody knows, 9 years, 300 million, 10 years at 325, and then 11 at 360. I'm in that 10 to 11 years, 10 at 325, and obviously 11 at 360. I think it gets it done. I really do. I think that is that's going to get it done. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. We talked about the Cressers, we talked about Devers. Where do we go from here? We have money to spend. We still have about, I think, another 30 mil before the luxury tax threshold. Well, let's start off with my man Bobby Dahlbeck, who is dodging 40-man hit lists. He's dodging the 40-man hit list, bro. He's now 2 for 2 on not being designated for assignment. We're a Bobby Dahlbeck family. I always say how much my daughter loves Bobby Dahlbeck. If Ryan Brazier lasts long than Bobby Dahlbeck, I'm gonna lose my mind, dude. I'm gonna lose. Bobby's honestly, the greatest July hitter ever. He's the greatest. July Bobby's scary.
All you gotta do is call him up in July and give us that nice run. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, I don't want to see Bobby taking that bat until July 1st. Okay? Bobby better not step foot in that batter's box before July. If he steps foot in that batter's box before July 1st, something went wrong. Okay? But from July 1st to August 1st, by all means, dude.
Get him in there.
Absolutely, get him in there. Let him have fun. He's terrifying in July. I love Bobby so much. If Brazier stays on this team, Darvison, I'm gonna say his name wrong. If he stays on this team any longer, I believe that the next move that the Red Sox will make will be starting pitching. I do. I want them to bring back Eovaldi. I know Eovaldi was kind of the backup plan for the Yankees if Rondon fell through. I'm glad that they were able to lock up Rondon, because now I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to throw money at Eovaldi. And plus, their starting pitcher locked up. So we need an arm. We need an arm. So let's talk about this. Is it going to be Are we going to pivot? Are we going to go to a Segura or and try to solidify the infield, or are we going to pick up a starting pitcher? Rob, talk to me about some of the starting pitchers left.
So for some of the starting pitchers you have left here, obviously you have a guy. You have obviously Nate Eovaldi, your guy. You still also have Michael Wacha, who's still unsigned.
Yes.
Which should be
Yep.
the two main. I think Michael Wacha, I think he'll be good if the Red Sox re-sign him. I think the pitching coach finally got him right here. There's other than that, there's not really like any big names out there. A lot of people have already signed. Like it does look like a lot. Like actually, Corey Kluber.
Yeah.
Jordan Lyles. I don't trust him. Johnny Cueto has been swirling around there. I think Johnny
Cueto has
will
been
be terrible, but he's a little older.
Let's talk about Kluber for a second, because Kluber's someone who's interesting. Kluber, who's obviously older in age, he is, from what I've read, an innings-eating machine. I think he's gone over 200 innings, like something like 8 times in his career, which is really, really impressive. And we need guys, unfortunately, in our starting rotation who can stay healthy. Am I a Kluber guy? Listen, if it comes down to Eovaldi, Wacha, Kluber, I just want Eovaldi back. I think he's the fit in Boston. I think he's the fit in the rotation. I know the regular season numbers aren't there, but if there's a big game, there's very few guys I want out on the bump than Nathan Eovaldi. He knows how to pitch in big spots. He knows how to pitch in Boston. He's been around the culture. He's been around the winning. Let's keep another guy who was here. Michael Wacha was great. He was a great comeback story last year. I thought he pitched very, very well. Really turned, kind of had a late turnaround in his career as far as his numbers go. Once again, did an IL stint, right? He was out for a little bit. And then with Corey Kluber, I mean, he's in his late 30s, and I think he just had Tommy John, not even, 2 years ago or something? It scares me. It scares me. So we got Kluber, we got Eovaldi, we got Wacha. I think I'm going with Eovaldi. Who do you got, Rob?
I got Eovaldi all the way. I trust this man. I mean, look, I'm gonna keep pointing my shirt. He got us to be at a chance at running for a pennant, because that wild card game he pitched against the Yankees was spectacular. I think Nate Eovaldi knows how to pitch in big game situations. I think Nate Eovaldi is a guy who is a big clubhouse guy, a guy that's respected, a guy that is literally especially after 2018, what he did in that World Series game, pitching 7 or 8 innings in relief, it's absolutely
in relief,
insane. And obviously, I think personally, he shouldn't have to buy a beer in Boston for the rest of his life after that. Honestly, though, I really want him back. I love Nate Eovaldi, and he eats a lot of innings. Kluber, I'm a little shaky on, but I would take Nate Eovaldi 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 times I take Nate Eovaldi. Absolutely.
I'm with you. I think Nate is, if we're going to rank the 3, I think it goes Nate and then probably Kluber and then Wacha. And I hate to say that about Wacha, because he pitched so well last year. He really did. He pitched so well. I was at the Sunday night game against the Yankees. It was an unheard of Yankee Sox game that only went, 2 hours and 10 minutes, and Michael Wacha was just on fire, man. Just mowed down that entire Yankee lineup. And, I kind of put him at the back end of those 3 if that's where we're going. I think we should bring Eovaldi back. I think it would be a team-friendly deal. And then, by the way, still have enough money to probably go after Segura, right? Still have enough money. Listen, we missed out, and we've brought up so many names, right, since the beginning of this offseason. The Jose Abreu's, the Mitch Hanigers, the Bassett's, the Tyler Anderson's, the list goes on and on and on. And I tweeted out something today about Jon Heyman. If he has anybody linked to the Red Sox, you might as well just say they're not coming to the Red Sox.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jon Heyman.
Today was the first. Today was the first.
Yeah. Today was the first that he actually said that the Sox were close to a deal with Justin Turner, and I was just like, this guy needs to go on a hole, dude. Like, he just needs to go away. How, he just needs to go on a hole and needs to go away. He needs to, he completely, duped the Aaron Judge deal to San Francisco. I know we're trolling and I know we're giving him a hard time, but any person that he had linked to the Red Sox this offseason just immediately signed with someone else. He was the one, Kodai Senga. the night before he signed with the Mets. It was like you thought it was a done deal in Boston, and then all of a sudden, Steve Cohen comes in from the Mets and locks up Kodai Senga. So
pitching, I'm actually excited. Sorry to cut you off, but for pitching, I also want to say, like, for this upcoming, if the Red Sox don't spend the money this offseason, which you could tell they were throwing contracts at people and people weren't accepting. I don't want to sound like an optimistic Red Sox fan, because I mean, if we lock up Devers, let's say we lock up Devers and we still have the money, Boston can go out and they have two options for next season if they really want to. A guy like Aaron Nola who could come to Boston,
Yep.
who I think could definitely reshape the Sox rotation, and a guy who I think would be a perfect fit in Boston. He wants to play for a big market team. Don't quote me on it, but Shohei Ohtani to Boston in 2023. That would be a sight to see. Babe Ruth 2.0 taking over Fenway Park. I think it would be perfect.
Yeah, I think Shohei Ohtani is one of the most exciting electric players in baseball. What he does as far as how hard he hits the ball, how far he hits the ball, and then gets up and how hard he throws is something we've never seen before. I mean, I don't have stats in front of me of what Babe Ruth was able to do on the pitching mound. I know what he was able to do at the plate against a lesser competition, but what Shohei Ohtani does, and you got to think if Heim makes it, and I know it's a big if, we have to realize that Heim's job, and I posted in, it was one of my polls that actually got the least amount. I don't think people wanted to talk about it. If Heim's job in jeopardy, if this season goes down quickly, is Heim's job in jeopardy? I don't know. I really don't. I don't even know if I could forecast it. I don't even know if I could speculate it. I could tell you this right now: if ownership, they're not going to stand another season of losing. They're just not. Is this team built to win? I don't know. I mean, I'm excited about the Turner piece. I'm excited if they pick up another bat. I'm excited if they pick up another starting pitching. Now all of a sudden we're starting to look like a wild card team. We got to do something now. Heim is big on the international players, right? Loves the international players. And I think a guy like Shohei Ohtani, who wants to play in a big market, who, by the way, a lot of these guys from Japan that come over and want to play on the West Coast so that they're closer to home are starting to realize, hey, listen, I think we're going to go to the East Coast. And you saw it with Yoshida. You saw it with Kodai Senga signing with the Mets, and obviously Yoshida signing in Boston. I think that Shohei Ohtani will be looking to come east, and I think the free agent class is so loaded next year. You hit the nail on the head, Aaron Nola and Shohei Ohtani as far as starting pitchers go. But yeah, I would love Ohtani in Boston. Not to get too much down the pipe dream and things like that.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Obviously,
yeah, I know.
I just want to throw it out there because it is a possibility, and a lot of
it is a possibility.
Yankees too, but obviously, I mean, a man could dream.
A man could dream, absolutely, and we'll leave it at that. So we talked about we're going to need another arm. We have money to spend. Right now the Red Sox are ranked, I believe, after Turner, they're still around 10 to 11 in payroll. We know they're probably going to be a top 5 payroll at the end of this offseason. What is a trade that we think we could see happen? What is something that we're looking at for? A lot of people keep throwing up Milwaukee Brewers as a team that Boston could potentially trade with. Talk to me a little bit about what we could look at as far as potential trade options, Rob.
I also, just to read what it said, Mick said about something about the Red Sox are setting them up for Shohei, which I would love to see us again. I think the Red Sox are perfect.
Yeah.
For give me one second, I'm going to clear my throat real quick. For the Red Sox, I think a trade with the Brewers would be great. I think a guy like Willy Adames would be a perfect set guy here to play in the infield.
Yes.
I also think that if theoretically a trade with the Brewers would have to include like a reliever like Eric Lauer, even a guy who can work and start as his pitcher. I mean, even low key, if you go after a guy who, I don't know if the Sox eat up the contract, but Christian Yelich, a guy who's on the decline, but maybe a change of scenery to return him to an MVP form. And the Red Sox, obviously, an extra outfielder would be nice, a guy who could play right field, left field, and DH. Another trade scenario could be with the Pirates. Obviously, Brian Reynolds, it's been swirling around the Red Sox, could make a deal with them. And another trade that I could see as well is the Colorado Rockies. Red Sox going out there, going to reach out inquiries about Brendan Rodgers and maybe Ryan McMahon.
Brendan Rodgers,
Ryan McMahon and Brendan Rodgers. I mean, he's amazing. He plays an amazing second base, and I mean, if you put him, you can put him at shortstop. I mean, it's funny. He was playing second base. He came up as a shortstop. The only reason why he was playing second base was because Trevor Story was playing shortstop there. And it would be so funny if he came to Boston as a trade, and it's like, you know what? Let's flip the script. You're going to be my shortstop. Trevor Story is going to be second base. It'll be kind of funny to see. And I think he's a great athlete, even though the numbers at the plate aren't the best. But I think as a defender, he's amazing.
I think one thing that Pittsburgh is going to realize real quickly is they're looking for a Soto type package for Brian Reynolds, and I just don't think they're going to get that. And I think how long they've been open, we're talking about weeks now that Brian Reynolds has theoretically been on the trade market, and we saw Murphy to Atlanta kind of kick off the trades, and I really thought the trades were going to just come barreling out one after another after that. I do think the Red Sox are in a prime position to make a trade. Adames batting average 238, 31 home runs, 98 RBIs, OBP of 298, slugging for so an OPS around 756. I believe there's about 2 or 3 years of control on Adames as two, which is kind of interesting because now you're talking about the Marcelo Meyer come up, right, with a guy here. So if he has 2 years of control, and if you're thinking Meyer's not ready until the end of 2024, it's kind of right on par with, this is a guy we could trade for to be a stopgap. Is he a stopgap type of player? Is he someone that you're going to want to hold on to? Yelich is very interesting because some of the trade proposals that I saw just kind of circling through the interwebs and Twitter especially was actually the Brewers having to eat most of Yelich's contract, which I think that's the only way you get value out of Yelich as a trade proposition is that if the Brewers are going to be willing to eat that monster contract that he was able to sign.
And the thing about that too is that it could be a situation if they were to throw him in a deal, it could be like a Padre situation with Eric Hosmer, by the way.
Exactly.
No longer a Red Sox DFA, which is what blew my mind when I saw that. I thought they were going to trade him or something. But yeah, like you were saying, I think that that would be a situation if a team pays the money, because why am I going to spend all that money on a guy who's declining? And then let's say he does pop off and does good. Then it's like, okay, we just stole a guy who just needed to change the scenery. Now look at it, it's like win-win.
It's a complete fleece. And Lowry, I believe, is the other one that was mentioned in the Milwaukee trade, was someone that you can use out of the bullpen. And there's some options. Let's put it that way. There's some options. The off season isn't over, guys. We got a long way to go before pitchers and catchers report. And I think Heim is working at a pace that's comfortable for him. I think I think we had to prepare ourselves for a mediocre off season, and what we're actually looking at is Heim trying to build a team, and that is something that I'm okay with. It hurts me to see Xander leave. It hurts me that we don't have Rafi locked up long term. It hurts me that some of the bigger names that we were excited about, not coming to Boston, aside from, Yoshi and Jansen. But is the team better off than where we were at the end of last season? You can make the argument that it is. You can
Especially
really,
bullpen,
you can really make an argument.
The lineup, I mean, it really hasn't. I'm not even gonna lie, it's improved. It hasn't really changed much, but it has improved a little bit. If you look at it, you lose JD Martina. I mean, obviously, it hasn't improved completely because you do lose a guy like Xander Bogaerts. But I mean, you add a guy like Justin Turner, who's pretty much had the similar production numbers to JD Martinez last year. You got Masataka Yoshida, who's a better obviously a guy who can play outfield. I mean, we had an infield outfield last year. I mean, you got guys coming up too. You got Cedane Rafaela. You got some young guys coming up. I think this adds a lot of depth to the Red Sox. I think their bullpen definitely improved. I mean, the starting pitching is my only question mark at this point, because Red Sox offense is always going to be the Red Sox offense. They're going to produce runs. Even if you put guys who haven't even – I mean, Christian Arroyo, if he plays every day, he could be pretty solid too. But I think the Red Sox, what they need to do, like we always say, focus on starting pitching, and then we could maybe be a contender. Like I said, I don't want to even think about being a wild card team, but I mean, great things have happened to wild card teams 2019 Nationals. Obviously, nobody can forget the miracle 2004 Red Sox going in as a
Yeah,
wild card team too. So I mean, anything is possible, obviously. But I think this year is a year that the Red Sox need to win. They need to have a winning season, or else things are going to change in Boston in the offseason next year. You're going to see a lot of changes in that front
yeah,
office
absolutely.
if a team does not produce this year.
And let's be critical of the front office a little bit. Sam Kennedy sitting in on the pressers, and the prototypical. And I keep saying that, and I don't listen. I'm not here to berate Sam Kennedy. I'm not like anti, and I'm not going to get a T-shirt anti Sam Kennedy, written on it and wear it around. But just a yes man, and John Henry, one of the quotes that we had from him since 2019, I believe, was, we don't want to lose this fan base. And then obviously losing Xander. And then not only that, losing Kodai Senga literally the next day, another guy that we were linked to, it was just like, what is this guy talking about? He's just completely tone deaf. One thing that let's talk about some of these potential guys that could come up. Emmanuel Valdez. This is a name that I kind of want to just throw out there. Valdez put up great numbers in his we got him in the Christian Vasquez trade, correct, right?
Yeah.
From Houston. Valdez he's got a pop in the bat, and he could play a pretty decent shortstop. Is this a guy that is also a stopgap? This is the thing that Heim is doing that nobody wants to talk about. We're talking about how we're missing out on the big names. We're talking about how we're missing out on the big names, but Heim is putting together a team that has so many different options. So many different options. They might not be the options we want, and they might not be the options that we like. I talked about it a little bit. He's trying to build a contender while building a farm system. Not a lot of teams can do that. However, with building a contender and building a farm at the same time, you have guys like Emmanuel Valdez who could come out but maybe contribute this year. We have what's his name, Cedeno, who could come up and maybe make an impact on the team this year. And then we go into obviously 2023's offseason and the loaded free agent class that will come with. But yeah, Justin just said true. It wouldn't be a podcast if Kevin didn't label Sam as a yes man. I you know what? I think I do it inherently without even like trying to just throw shots. But I do it every episode. I do it every single. I swear I won't walk around with an I hate Sam Kennedy T-shirt on. I won't do that. I hope he's not listening. Listen, just tells the truth, man. Just tells the truth. So let's talk about some guys that could be called up potentially this year and can make an impact. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, a lot of players, like you said, I think Emmanuel Valdez, I got to see him play in Worcester. He's a stud. He can rake. I think he's going to be a great hitter. I think, obviously, he can play shortstop, third base, wherever you want to plug him in. And I also do like Cedeno Rafaela. I think he's a good outfielder, a good, fourth outfielder option for the Red Sox. The Red Sox do have some young guys, too. They have some young pitchers in that minor league system that could be good. Obviously, Brian Bayo, I think, is going to make an impact this year. I think a full season of Brian Bayo is going to be really good. Obviously, I feel like
Cutter
the Red
Crawford.
Sox is kind of Cutter Crawford too. Yeah, I think he's going to be good. He had some splashes with the Red Sox a few times. He wears that number 50 on his back, kind of like someone else wearing number 50. But he's pretty good. He's pretty solid. When he got caught, he got rocked a little bit, but obviously he hasn't had much time in the major league level, I think. So, but I think he's going to be solid. I think a lot of the players are going to be really good this year. I think the Red Sox.
Hopefully the Seabold experiences, maybe we tailor that for a little bit. I think Seabold needs a little bit more time down in the minors before we throw him to the fire again. Great episode, guys. Great episode. I know I'm struggling a little bit, so thank you for pulling me up but you got me to get loud a few times. Any final thoughts, Rob? Justin?
I think this is going to be a great offseason. I still think there's hope that the Red Sox offseason turns around. I'm hoping
we still got time
on this podcast. I'm hoping the next time I hop on this podcast, we're talking about Rafael Devers extension finally happening. I'm hoping we're talking about Nate Eovaldi coming back. I'm hoping we're talking about building a team around Rafi. And I just hope that, obviously, I'm excited for what's coming up this year. I think when the season starts, you're going to be hearing us talk a lot more. We're talking about predictions and stuff. once the season starts, we're going to be talking about what's happening on this
Yes.
team, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be you're going to hear unfiltered takes, and I think this offseason ain't done yet. Like you said, I think the Red Sox still have a couple more moves to make, and I think we can be contenders this year if the Red Sox put in the work.
And please, listeners, please, if you're, those who have listened, those who have support, continue to support us. Please understand that once the season starts and we have games being played and we have the information that's coming into us, it is going to be electric. This podcast is definitely going to be a place you're going to want to be. Where, it's hard to start a podcast in the beginning of an off season with only so much that is going on. Once pitchers and catchers report, there's a lot of offseason left. Let's let Heim do his thing. Let's see what other moves we can make to make this team better. And B, once the season starts, it's going to be electric in here. So this is definitely going to be a podcast you're going to want to listen to. Justin, thank you so much. Always our producer. Rob, thank you so much, brother, for hanging out. And as always, this is like therapy, dude. It's one of the best hours every week that we get to do. If we aren't back before Christmas, which I'm hoping we will be, but if we're not, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and all your families, and the listeners, to you and all your families. We care about you. We love you. Thank you. Follow us on our Twitters. Follow us on our Instagrams. Rob, TikTok, huge TikTok following. Please support Red Sox content. I say it all the time. Support Red Sox content. We are available on Amazon, Spotify, Apple, featured on Wisdom, wherever you get your podcasts. So long, everyone. Go Sox.
Go Sox. Catch y'all next time.
Go Sox. Catch you next time. All right.